Hi, I'm Ken Kington, and I am so glad you've chosen to be part of the Duct Tape DIY groups. You are in for a treat. Not only will it be some of the most fun you have with other couples, but it's going to ask some questions and get some conversations going to move your relationship to a great level. No matter how long you've been married, this is going to be, kind of a roadmap or a turbocharge or whatever great other idea you have that is positive. Because here's the deal. My wife and I were at Chili's the other night. We're sitting at a table next to a couple, and they were obviously newlyweds. Not only from the way they were interacting initially, but also from their conversation. Well, my wife got up to go to the bathroom, and I'm just sitting there kind of returning some emails, and the table next to us, it wasn't eavesdropping, they were just right there. And I hear him say, "What's wrong?" To which she obviously said, "Nothing." And he said, "Well, I can tell something's wrong. Why don't you just tell me what's wrong?" And she goes, "You wouldn't understand." And he goes, "Well, how can I understand if you don't tell me?" And finally, she just unloaded. And it was all I had not to laugh out loud. She said, "I just want you to want what I want." It was all I had not to lean over and go, "Dude, it's a trap. Don't say anything." But he didn't know. He's a newlywed. And he's like, "Well, what do you want?" And she said, "See, you don't understand." And he was like, "How can I know what you want if you don't tell me what you want?" She said, "Never mind." And this dude's head's about to explode. She's about in tears. It could not have been more perfect timing. The waiter came up at that moment. He said, "Hey, you guys ready to order? Do you know what you want?" I just thought, I've been there and I've experienced that. Well, experience teaches us a lot, but we can always be growing. Because I've learned after 22 years of being married, I need prompts. I need input. I need truth. I need help on a regular basis, because if I stop growing, we stop growing. So I'll give you the perfect example. This last year, my wife and I, beautiful vacation was given to us to Isla Mujeres in Mexico. Private island, we were having a blast. One day, every day we do something different. Rode bikes around the island one time, or the shop one time, saw iguanas one time. But my wife said, "Today, can we paddleboard?" I love paddleboarding. And sure enough, it was part of the deal. So we go down a little beach, and I'm like, "Yeah, let's paddleboard." Now, Juan gave us the instructions. He's like, "See this dock over there about 200 yards, you don't go past the dock. The dock over there by the dolphin exhibit, you don't go past the dock. And then about 80 yards south is the current by the island. It goes by the island, it's current, no go 80 yards out, you'll end up South America." And so we got the rules, and my wife was like, "Okay." So we get on, we start paddling. She goes, "I want to go see the dolphins." We paddle over to the dolphins. It's like one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. We look under the dock, and 8 feet away, there's this pod of dolphins. It was amazing. She says, "You know what? If we paddle around the dock, I bet we could see more dolphins." Now, I'm the rule follower. I'm like, "Well, Juan said you don't go past the dock. You don't go around the dock." And she goes, "Come on, what are they going to call the paddleboard police?" And I was like, "What?" Now I'm going to pause here and just tell you, when we get to heaven and I meet Adam, that whole "here, Adam, take a bite of the apple," I got no stones to throw at Adam. Because as soon as my wife started going around the dock, I just went, "Okay," and I followed her right around the dock. And for a moment, I was glad I did. It opened up, and there were probably 100 dolphins. It was amazing. Until I heard, "Honk, honk." I'm like, was that the paddleboard police? And I'm like, "Huh." And then I turned around. Coming straight at us to the dock that we had just passed was a ship. It was not a boat. It was a ship. I'm talking 4 decks high, hundreds of people. And he's coming straight at us at the dock. I yell over my shoulder, "We gotta go!" And I start hoofing it as hard as I can paddle to get past the dock. He's honking, and I'm like, I am going as fast as I can. And I get just around the dock to where I'm safe, and I thought, I made it. And then he honks more. I'm like, dude, I am nowhere near the dock. And when I turned around, I saw my wife, and she's by the dock. She wasn't as strong a paddler, and she's not going to make it. And I'm like, and she looks at this desperation like, what do I do? And I was like, go the other way. And she starts to turn around and paddle as hard as she can, and that ship comes in within seconds. I lose sight of my wife, and I'm just like, I've never felt more inadequate, more pain and more regret than that moment. And I remember thinking, it's been a good 20 years. I hope she made it. The ship docks, and I paddle out to the edge of the ship. And right as I get to the corner, I see my wife. She is paddling as hard as she can, and she's moving about that fast. She was in the current, and she was desperate. She looks at me and hollers to me, what do I do? And all I could think of, and I wish I hadn't said it, but all I could think of, I shouted, I'm like, paddle harder. She was already paddling to the point of exhaustion, and she kind of waved to me, but she only used one finger. And I waved back, and I started going out to rescue her. And right as I got there, she falls down exhausted, grabs my paddleboard. I paddle against the current. We get out, and we're in the cove. And she's like, why did you leave me? And I'm like, well, you broke the rules. And after about a minute of heated frustration, we both realized we made it. And I've heard in marriage, you can be right or you can be happy. And I think that's true. But you know what? Happiness is up and down. Right and wrong, I don't really care about anymore in my marriage, because you know what? She's going to be right some, I'm going to be right some. But that day I made a decision. I don't care if I'm right. I don't care if I'm happy. I just want to be together. I want to be together. And these next few weeks, you're going to have the opportunity to really just kind of change trajectory. There's not going to be any major mind-blowing life changes, but it's just a chance to connect and be together and move down that road and get on a positive track. Enjoy this time and enjoy doing the DIY, groups, times, and projects. And I promise you're going to be more together in the next few weeks than probably most couples at whatever stage of marriage they are will be. Learn, laugh, love, and just enjoy duct tape DIY groups.